Dear students, we have discussed about the individual cost of capital, like cost of equity, cost of preferred, and cost of debt, using all methodologies. And after that, we calculated the work. For work, we have calculated the weights. Weights multiplied by the individual cost gave us the work. With work, we have taken the additional project. We made valuation using the work. For that, we have taken the project analysis. One of the project analysis of General Electricals is, these cases are all real life cases being done in General Electricals case. So how General Electrical has made the analysis for investing in the project. Once this base analysis is being done, in the base analysis we understood that the company will get an NPV of 36.31 million positive if invest in the chemical facility. Now, the analyst will start making the scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, using the goal sake, using the data table, using the scenario. All these kind of analysis have been in different scenarios. What will be the situation and different sensitivity analysis are being used to make more concrete analysis, but the analysis will be done based on these principles. So we have used here work for making the analysis because it is the overall cost of capital. Now it is a question of when you are thinking for new acquisition. In the previous case, what is the example we have learned here for General Electricals? It is considering investing in its existing chemical facility. One of its chemical facilities is existing. In that, General Electrical is thinking for reinvesting the 6.67 million upfront, 24 million additional equipment, all these things they are going to invest for the expansion of the additional unit. But most of the time, what happens in real life, you might also acquire new business. You might go for acquisition of other business. Suppose General Electrical here is considering acquiring Nike, a company that is focused on the athletic shoe business. We all love to use it as a product, very, very successful product. Nike is having all the sports shoes are very popular. Now General Electrical is considering acquiring the Nike. See the interesting thing here? General Electrical in a different industry, Nike in a different industry. Now GE is acquiring Nike. Then what to do? Will these kind of work calculation and all will work? Nike faces different market risk, different market return, different scenarios. The type of business are different than General Electricals. So, what cost of capital should General Electrical use to value the possible acquisition of Nike? It's a question mark now. If it is the same existing line of business, we used the 6.8% WACC of General Electricals. We have calculated the WACC of General Electricals with the detailed analysis I showed you in the spreadsheet. Then we make it for discounting the future cash flows. But problem comes when they are different thinking for acquiring a different set of business, different organization, which is operating in a different risk zone than your existing business is. Here Nike faces different type of risk than General Electrical does in its line of business. Then what happens? You have to calculate Nike's kind of work. Instead of using your 6.8% work, calculate the work for Nike. How you will calculate? For cost of equity, you need to calculate CAPM. For CAPM, for all the companies, the risk-free rate of return is the same, market risk premium is the same. Only the beta will change. Therefore, taking the new beta of Nike, cost of equity has been calculated for Nike. Cost of debt is the Nike's YTM from its debt, that is 3.2%. Cost of equity is the percentage of equity is 99%, percentage of debt is 1%. See the difference now? General Electrical is having substantial amount of debt. isn't it? What is the total debt in General Electricals? We have seen the General Electricals debt. Yeah, General Electrical is having a debt of 41%. See the weight of debt in General Electricals around 41%, whereas Nike is having 1% debt. So, and the cost of debt also different for General Electricals and Nike. It is less for General Electricals but more for Nike. So they are not the same. So the debt is only 1%, equity is 90%, 99% weightage. And WACC will be calculated using the percentage of equity multiplied by cost of equity plus percentage of debt multiplied by cost of debt will come 6% as the WACC. And use this 6% for making the valuation of the acquisition of Nike. Now assume GE decides to create an athletic shoe division internally rather than buying Nike. This is what now the company has. See, when you are reinvesting, you have to take the alternate course of action also. That is what capital budgeting is saying. Option A, option B, option C. Similarly, option A, buying Nike. Option B, not buying Nike. You develop an internal unit in General Electricals which will develop the sports shoe. So you assume GE decides to create an athletic shoe division internally rather than buying the company Nike. What should the cost of capital for the new division be? If GE plans to finance the division with the same proportion of debt as is used by Nike, then GE would use Nike's WACC as of not WACC of GE. Why? Because we have seen in the assumption that the same cost of capital you cannot use if you are in a different set of different risk business. Here, sports unit is different, having different risk factors, and chemical unit is having different risk factors. So, if you are planning to start a shoe division, then better take the walk of Nike to make the discounting of the future cash flows. Say, for example, let us take a real life experience here. You are working for Microsoft, evaluating the possibility of selling digital video recorders, DVRs. Microsoft's WACC is 8.6%. Again, dear students, Microsoft's WACC is 8.6%. But will it use for digital video recorder? Because it is a different type of risk factor business. Digital video recorder is not the business Microsoft is doing. So it's a different line of business. So different risk factor. DVR would be a new line of business for Microsoft. However, so the systematic risk of the business would likely differ from the systematic risk of Microsoft's current business. Therefore, you should not take your 6.8%, 8.6% as the WACC. What you should take then? As a result, the assets of this new business should have a different cost of capital. You need to find the cost of capital for DVR business. How you will do that? You will find a similar. As I told you before 2 minutes, that risk-free rate remains the same, risk premium remains the same. Only the beta changes. Then what you have to find? You have to find a company who is doing similar kind of business and find its beta and calculate cost of equity. How? The first step is to identify a company. The first and foremost step will be to identify a company operating in Microsoft's target business. The target line of business for Microsoft is DVR. So it found TiVo Incorporation is a well-known marketer of DVRs. In fact, TiVo has only sole business of selling DVRs. So you found a competitor. Thus, the cost of capital for TiVo would be a good estimate of cost of capital for Microsoft's proposed DVR business. So you will not take the 8.6 WACC of yours. You found TiVo. TiVo's only business is this, and you try to take TiVo's input for this. Many websites are available that provide the betas for traded stocks, including finance.yahoo.com. Suppose visit that site and find the beta of TIVO stock is 1.45. As I said you, the risk-free rate remains same, risk premium remains same, only the beta changes. So beta of TIVO you got 1.45, and the risk-free rate of market risk premium are the same. So and TIVO has no debt, so the cost of equity will be the WACC for TIVO. Calculate the cost of equity using the beta of TIVO. Risk-free rate 3% constant plus 1.45 is the beta of TIVO multiplied by market risk premium 6% is equal to 11.7. Because TIVO has no other business, no other debt, so its WACC is equal to the cost of equity. So it is an unlevered company. So unlevered company WACC is equal to cost of equity because there is no debt, there is no cost of debt. Correct cost of capital for evaluating DVR investment opportunity is 11.7%. If you would have debt, you have to calculate the WACC for TIVO. But it doesn't have any debt, so the cost of equity is equal to the WACC. So 11.7 will be the appropriate cost of capital for evaluating the new project, not 8.6. 8.6 is your cost of capital with your risk factors, with your risk involved. Here the systematic risks are different, there the systematic risks are different. So you have to consider different kind of, you have to find an competitor in this regard and find its cost of capital, use it for your kind of acquisition. That could lead to go ahead with the investment. It if it truly had a negative NPV, you should reject the project. You see, if you take for example 8.6% is the cost of capital, what would happen? The project is more risky one. You have discounted at a lot lesser cost of capital. You should not discount at 8.6%. It should be discounted at 11.7%. If you discount at 8.6, we have seen in the NPV discussion and in the capital budgeting, if you reduce the cost of capital, it will go as a positive NPV. When it is not a positive NPV. Say for example, I will show you here. Say here we have done the project. Here 6.8% we have taken as the cost of capital. If we take, for example, instead of 6.8%, the NPV is 36.32. If we take the NPV, if the cost of capital we take 16.8, for example, 10% extra, what happens? Your NPV reduces, see, 23.99. If we increase further by maybe 71%, the NPV will be negative, see. The more the NPV you increase, more the rate you increase, the NPV will go on negative. Therefore, in this Microsoft case, if you take 8.6, you will get unnecessarily positive NPV and you will accept the project. Whereas the risk involved is more, and you will later feel that, oh, this is not the right kind of risk we have taken. So this is the way you have to take for, if you are taking a new project having different risk factor, find out a competitor of that kind or similar kind of business, you find out and find the cost of equity, cost of debt, and work for that, use it for your business. So issuing new equity or bonds carries a number of costs. You know, when you are going for flotation cost is a big cost associated with the issue of equity or issue of debt. So you should take into account while issuing new debt or new equity, additional cost. You are analyzing GE's potential acquisition of Nike. GE plans to, because it is a profitable one, so GE plans to offer 100 billion as the purchase price for Nike, because you see the Nike the acquisition is going to be a costlier one for you. Yeah, GE is going for acquisition of Nike, and yeah, here. So for this, the company needs money. So the company, so say for example, goes for issue of 100 billion. You see here? Yeah. 100 billion, the company will issue equity for buying Nike. It will need to issue additional debt and equity to finance such a large acquisition. So company has decided to go for 100 billion equity. You estimate that, equity and debt includes the issue of equity or issue of debt, new issue, will incur cost. That is the flotation cost. You estimate that issuance cost or flotation cost will be 800 million, and you will be paid as soon as transaction closes. So you have to pay this 800 million right now. Once transaction close, you have to pay 800 million as the fees and the flotation cost, transaction cost. You estimate the incremental free cash flows from the acquisition will be 3.3 billion in the first year and will grow at 3% per year thereafter. You are expecting once you are acquiring Nike, your cash flow, incremental free cash flow will be 3.3 billion yearly and will grow at 3% per year thereafter. What is the NPV of the proposed acquisition? You know, we need the incremental free cash flow divided by WACC minus growth. Incremental free cash flow is 3.3 billion we have. Growth 3% we have. WACC, GE's WACC is 6.8%, whereas Nike's WACC is 6%. And we have discussed in the previous section, we will use Nike's WACC, not GE's WACC, because it is in a different risk factor zone. So what we will do now? FCF1 divided by R minus G. FCF1 is 3.3 million. WACC, as I said you, 6.8% is the GE's WACC, but 6% is Nike's WACC. We will use Nike's WACC here because it is going to acquire a different type of business, different risk business. Business having different risk involvement. So, WACC will be Nike's WACC 6%. G is 3%. Put the formula, get the answer. You have to invest 100 billion right now. From there only you have to deduct 0.8 billion as the flotation cost. You see, if you are issuing new equity, you have to spend 800 million. That means 0.8 billion. So you will not adjust this with the free cash flow. No. Because you have to pay this right now. Once transaction close, you have to pay 800 million. That's why you have to adjust this 800 million with the offer. You have issued 100 billion. You are paying 800 million. So your net proceed is 100 minus 100 billion minus 0.8 billion is equal to 99.2 billion is what you are getting right now. Plus, so 99.2 billion is the issue you are doing for buying this company. And this company will give you in future 3.3 divided by 0.06 minus 0.03 is equal to 9.2 billion. That will be the NPV if you are acquiring this company. And this 800 million will not be adjusted with the free cash flow of Nike. It will be adjusted with the flotation. The flotation cost will be adjusted with the issue, new issue. It is not necessary to try to adjust Nike's WACC for the issuance cost of debt and equity. As I said, Nike is having 6% means you will use that, not WACC of GE. Instead, we can subtract the and issuance cost normally not adjusted with the free cash flow. It will be adjusted with the issue proceed. 100 billion minus 0.8 billion is equal to 99.2 billion. That is the net issue. So just let me stop the recording, then I'll take your questions.